Hey guys, this is Jordan, and today I'm going to be doing a detrans Reddit read-off slash reaction slash giving my opinions about it. So basically, I'm a man that thought he was a woman for 3 years, so I took synthetic estrogen and testosterone blockers, spironolactone. I no longer think I'm a woman, and I no longer think a man can become a woman. So anyways, today I'm going to be discussing two different Reddits. One is detrans, which detrans is like filled with people that are basically like me, and a lot of them stopped believing in gender ideology, and they stopped taking pills and doing surgeries and castrating themselves. And there's a second Reddit called actual detrans, which actual detrans is kind of a Reddit that came from detrans because detrans doesn't believe in gender ideology. So there's this man, kid, I don't know how old he was, and he basically was taking hormones, thinking he was a woman, and he got, they think that he had suicidal thoughts and went suicide because he stopped talking, because people don't believe in that on that Reddit. So they're like, well, we should make a Reddit that basically caters to trans people, but still has some detrans people that believe in gender ideology. So they came up with this Reddit called actual detrans, which actual detrans is mostly woke people and not actual people that got off the pills and started realizing that they're not born in the wrong body and there's nothing actually wrong with them physically, and that the doctors were just saying, oh, there's something wrong with you, we must correct that with pills, and people on the internet were saying that too. So basically this Reddit is co-opted by non-binary identifiers, trans identifiers, anyone that thinks you're born in the wrong body, and you're not allowed to say that they're born in the right body and that they should just appreciate what they have. You can't say that on that Reddit. So you have to believe in the beliefs, and if you go against them, then you're a bigot, obviously. So I'm gonna go between these two Reddits and kind of discuss some things that I see that kind of interested me, and they might interest you too. We'll see. Well, I'm gonna do the actual detrans first because might as well get some of the tough stuff out of the way. I haven't read this yet. I don't know who this person is, but I'm just gonna be reacting to this comment, and I'll probably show it on the screen. And if you see me looking this way, that's because my tablet is set up in this way where I can kind of read it, see it. Oh yeah, and by the way, I kind of put on some Christmassy makeup because, it's the holidays, and that was one of my voting things that you could have done. But I decided to put that in this video too because I was just very excited to do it. But anyways, so actual detrans, you, Luca, and this person said that they feel like they're lying to themselves. And this is what they said: support needed. And it's in orange. So I'm 19 and I'm AFAB. AFAB means that you're born with a female body, girl become woman, that's normal body basically. And doctors used to say registered at birth female or registered at birth male because we can pretty 99% tell who's a man, who's a woman when they're born. And it's very easy because, there's something that really separates us that, is pretty obviously separating us. And they basically would measure how long the parts were, and, that's like a 99% accuracy. So really it's registered. Sometimes they get it wrong. Some people have intersex conditions and they get it wrong because they might have internal testes, they registered them as a female, but this isn't the case in that. Basically, when trans-identified people do that, and most of them aren't intersex, when trans-identified people do that, they're just normal women and men that think they're born in the wrong body. They're not intersex, they're not born with a condition that, makes them confused on what their gender is. They're just confused people because of clothing items and how men and women are treated in society. Well, anyways, my whole life I've known there was something off about being AFAB, but at a younger age, I obviously didn't know it meant I was trans. I'd always look at the other boys and be confused as to why that wasn't me and why I was like this. Fast forward a few years, and I started to explore my gender, and I always felt like I should have been born a male. I always get thoughts like, I'd love to be a husband and a father one day, never a wife or mother. I don't want to be someone's boyfriend, not their girlfriend. And I do get sometimes quite severe dysphoria around areas to the point it damages my well-being. I couldn't picture myself growing up old as a woman, but as a man I could. And I'm going to stop right there for a second. People that go on like castrating hormones and stuff, that doesn't stop them from aging like a man or a woman. That's not true. Basically what it does is it like castrates you so that you kind of, get these side effects from the pills that make it look like you do, but you don't actually. So you still have the body of a woman on testosterone. Like, it doesn't change your gender, but it makes you get like a deeper voice and like some like mild secondary sex characteristics, because those are side effects from the pills. Just like, incontinence could be side effects from some pills, and like bladder problems, or like, vaginal dryness could also be a problem from it. But, we don't really say that's like gender affirming, do we? Because really it's, unless someone was like, oh, I want to be like incontinent, and, I want to be identifying as someone that's incontinent, or, having vaginal dryness. We don't do that because, that's, then it, I don't know, because apparently this is valid. I'm putting a long story short there, and there's other factors, but I guess my main point is this. I was not able to get affirming treatment on the NHS because of the list. I went private and my testosterone gets delivered today. I was so excited to be who I am truly, but all of a sudden I have these awful thoughts that I'm lying to myself. I'm not actually trans. I'm deluded, and I know I'm a woman. And my mom doesn't help either by thinking I've been influenced. I mean, I don't know by who, lol, but yeah. Oh yeah, I'm gonna stop there too. It's a giant social contagion. She was probably influenced from TikTok or something. It sounds like one of those girls that like sees like TikTok or something and they're influenced by that, or they see how like little boys are treated and they're like, oh, I want to be treated like a little boy and go fishing or something. It's like, just go fishing, get your hair cut. Like, come on. That's probably what she really meant as like a little girl, because little kids don't actually know what, other little kids' genitals look like unless they've seen like their little brother or sister getting changed in front of, them. But even then, it's like, I don't think they would think like, oh yeah, I want to have that, pair of genitals. I think really what kids think when they think, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be a girl or I'm supposed to be a boy, they just want to be treated that way. Which, little girls are treated like, oh yeah, let's get her a doll, or little boys are treated like, oh yeah, let's get them trucks, And that's what kids really mean when they say that stuff. They don't actually mean that stuff. Like they don't know what it means to actually be a, like if they're a boy, they don't know what it means to be a girl, and like vice versa, because they're not born it. I'm deluded, and I know I'm a woman. Yep. See, she's kind of having these colliding beliefs about herself right here, where she wants to take the testosterone because she thinks she's a man, and she knows she's a woman. So there's these two things coming together, and this is usually like how it is for basically all of them. But anyways, and trans actually do know they're not actually that gender, just that people think they're that gender enough to believe it so that they can believe it themselves. That's basically all it is. What if I regret this? All of a sudden these thoughts have popped up out of nowhere, and I feel like I'm lying to myself, and now I'm scared to take testosterone for the first time. Don't do it then. Like, if you're so scared, don't take the pills. Like, you don't need to take testosterone. That's the thing. You don't need it for health reasons, probably. She's probably going to take a dosage that's like way above what women actually need to take. Because women need a little bit of testosterone. What she's going to take is like more than what any man would ever take, any woman, any person would take. Because She's trying to dilute her endocrine system with enough testosterone to overwrite her estrogen and shut her ovaries down from functioning. That's the science behind trans care, basically, is to shut down your reproductive organs. That's all really it is. And trying to get like these side effects from it. It's really weird, actually. And, you know, some of the side effects could be like I said earlier, vaginal dryness and stuff. And why would she want that? But the comments on this are probably going to be very woke because she's on actual detrans. If she was on detrans, it would be a way different story. It would be like, people would be like, girl, you need to get out of this. You need to get out of this right now. But like, since she's on this Reddit, she's gonna get like love bombed and like told, oh yeah, you're a man because you believe you are. Love you. Anyways, the next one. Oh, this is kind of sideways. Oh yeah, okay, so I wanted to talk about this one woman, and she's a very interesting case, actually. She was born intersex. I think she's mostly female, I don't know though. But basically, intersex isn't like a completely new like gender or sex or anything, it's like a condition, because we only have two biological sexes, one that produces spermatosa and one that produces ova. And spermatosa is men, ova is women, and if you're infertile, we go by other things like measurements like with chromosomes. No true hermaphrodite really exists. It's not like actually a thing. Like it might be like maybe in like a science fiction type thing where it's like, you know, oh yeah, I'm gonna impregnate myself because I got spermatosa and ova, but that can't happen. That's scientifically impossible to like get pregnant. Like intersex people can't impregnate themselves. Like that's weird. I think she was mostly born female because she talks about taking testosterone, meaning that like whatever she has like going on with her system doesn't produce testosterone naturally. So what she has is probably ovaries, I'm guessing. And I'm guessing she probably has so some girls, some little girls are born with like, and this is what happens sometimes and why some people are like registered incorrectly or they're like assigned incorrectly, and it happens very rarely. It's probably like a 1 out of like 12,000 girls that deal with this, or some numbers like that, which is, you know, quite a few, but it's not enough to like be like, oh yeah, you know, there's no such thing as a woman anymore. It's not enough to say that. But anyways, some girls are born with a little bit too much testosterone in their system, and they get enlarged clits. And basically, sometimes they're registered as male, but then you can kind of see that they have like the vaginal canal, and it's like, you know, it's like, oh yeah, that's a little girl. Which I'm thinking that's what happened in her situation, but I don't know for sure. She doesn't really talk about that. But what happened was that she has this pretty masculine kind of face that everyone thinks that she's like a trans woman or a man that thinks he's a woman, and they're judging her for that. And they're saying, oh yeah, I can't believe you're born a woman, no way. And they're like, I don't know, just kind of rude to her, honestly. Like, you don't know how someone's actually born. But like, if they're trans-identified, then you kind of know. Like, if they're like, oh yeah, I'm a trans woman, okay, you're a dude. You know, you can kind of guess. But then that can go, you know, they can reverse the logic and, you know, completely be delusional. But I don't think that's what's going on here. I mean, I don't know, though. I'm not like 100%. There's always that benefit of the doubt. But basically, she always like goes on Reddit. Her name is... Oh! I'm sorry about this. Her name is Vivid Humor. And she always asks, like, do I look more feminine showing my cheekbones, or is it better covering? Like, she always has to get validation because, like, you know, she took testosterone, probably got like a deeper voice, an Adam's apple, because that's what happens when you take like, or you know, testosterone. If you're a woman, you take it, it's like same effects that like a man would get, kind of, but like, you know, it's slightly different because like your lyrics says already ossified. Oh yeah, by the way, women already have Adam's apples, but they're just smaller than men's. But women's Adam's apples are actually bigger than children's, but not as big as men's. So when you take testosterone, it kind of comes out a little bit more, like as a woman. But it's still like a little ossified because like your vocal cords can't really stretch out anymore. So what ends up happening is you get like the trans voice, and she's feeling very probably uncomfortable, I would think, because like a lot of people like judge women with deeper voices or like Adam's apples because they think that they're like men or trans-identified men, and it probably is hard for them, and to be called like a man even though they're women actually. But that's the price that they pay for taking synthetic hormones. But she always asks those questions, and my response to that was, oh yeah, by the way, I want you guys to follow me on Reddit if you want. My Reddit name is ZealZesterZig611. I'm fine with you guys following that social because, I don't really do too much on Reddit. I sometimes go on trans Reddit. I do hair. I look in the hair or makeup sections because that's what your boy likes to do, That's kind of me. Yeah. So, anyways, I said if I were you, I would gain weight. Yeah, oh yeah, by the way, she's like anorexic too. She's very skinny. And it's hard to like talk to anorexic people, very hard, because it's like if you say, "Oh yeah, gain weight," then they're like, "Oh no, I want to stay skinny and small because the power comes from not gaining weight." So if you tell them that, then it's almost impossible to talk to an anorexic person, just like it's almost impossible to talk to a trans person. It's very difficult. You don't even understand. But anyways, I said gain weight, dye your hair dark, wear a little mascara, lip tint, and that will definitely look more feminine and maybe might help you feel good. I care about how people feel inside too. I want them to feel nice and comfortable with themselves. But, I don't want them to like have to ruin their health over trying to do that. So, my stance is pretty clear. I'm pretty consistent with what I say and how I feel about this. Gaining weight also helps to fill in the face out and adds a softness to it. Also, it's really not your fault why you have the structure you have. If it looks male, you can't help that. You don't need to take pills or surgery to make yourself feel good. We all have things that make us insecure, a lot of things that are out of our control, and life is too short to let those things bother us. For instance, my back isn't straight. It won't ever be, but I'm not going to let that affect my confidence. I've been in the same boat as you have. You have to get used to how you look and own it. You have always had the same face growing up. Testosterone can't change that in a woman. Taking too much of it. So you just have to make an example of your younger self and show that kid that you are comfortable and confident now. I would say focus on something you like. And also, Reddit is a crappy place a lot of the time, especially if you're asking how you look. It can be toxic, and if you have body dysmorphia, it can really make it worse. People will throw anything at you, even if it's not true or exaggerated, or exaggerate how bad you look. Then she said, I'm not really wanting to change my body, to be fair. That's a good thing. No one should want to change how they look, because most of it, what I have figured out through research is that most people just want to change how they look so that they look good to other people. They don't actually do it for themselves. And you can't really tell the difference between that and that, because it's like society and the individual go hand in hand. So it's almost impossible to separate society from the individual unless they're living on an island country separated from the world. So I'm proud of her to know that like you don't have to change your body to feel happy. That's all I have to say. Like my BF likes me the way I am, and I wouldn't really change it either. But yeah, I get what you mean. Reddit is honestly full of interesting people, and I find it fascinating how people perceive gender in different ways. Even if they are saying it to try to be insensitive or hurtful, it's just interesting how people react in different ways, such as this thread. Many people have gone off the topic of my hair to point out other things. And then I said, I hope he treats you right and understands what you went through with all this and understands you as a whole. I think people just started talking about the rest of your face because you said something about your cheeks and that connects with the rest of your face. The way you framed the question also opens doors for people to interpret your face and your perceived gender/gender expression, because you asked if you looked female and asked on actual detrans Reddit, which is essentially another trans subreddit/gender identity sub, wanted a question on just your hair. You should have phrased it like, does my hair look good like this or the second one? And posted on our hair, Reddit hair. That's how I think people who don't think about gender identity or body disorders think of things. And that's it for that. I learned a lot from her. I actually did, on one of my other videos on trans Reddit, I did do one little segment where this woman, she had gone like the full 9 yards on like transition, and she was completely sterilized. And I'm gonna put this as gently as I can, but she was obviously like mutilated, and female mutilation, and she had many problems because of it. And it seems like a lot of the trans-identified people don't really care that they're gonna be living like this the rest of their lives, and they're going to be putting a lot of strain on the healthcare system because of their mental disorder, which it's just not fair to the rest of us to have to pay these, because we're if insurance pays for it, that's bad. If taxpayers pay for it, that's bad too, because we shouldn't be covering like cosmetic stuff. But at the same time, a lot of like detrans people, they paid out of pocket, or they did those things, and then it's like they don't even want it. You don't even know who's going to detransition or not. Like there's a probability of like everyone doing it at some point or another, which detrans can mean like many things, because even trans-identified people get off their hormones for a bit, but they don't stop identifying as trans-identified, so they don't think of themselves as like what they actually are. They still think of themselves as like the other gender when they're not in reality, and they get off the hormones for a bit, so that probably puts less strain on the healthcare system. All right, I'm gonna go to this next person. And this person I saw a very long time ago during the first little part of my detransition and slash going off estrogen thing. And this guy, his name is Vincent, and he's a very creative fellow, I believe, very eccentric, and he never identified as trans-identified, meaning he never thought he was a woman, but he still identified in the category of trans-identified, which is like becoming an umbrella term. It's becoming kind of useless of a whole entire thing to say it. There's true trans-identified, which means that they really do believe they were born in the wrong body the whole entire lives or something like that, which that's hard to believe. And then there's trans-identified, which is an umbrella term which can include non-binary identifiers, which they're basically people that throw out the whole concept of gender and try to make people think they're an it or like a they or something else, and try to get people to ignore their genders. And then there's people like that believe like butch lesbians are like less of women because they wear like clothes that aren't typically associated with womanhood. So they think of that as a separate gender. They think of femboys as a separate gender because they're very, it's going back into a circle. Woke is becoming conservative, and conservative is becoming woke. Because, now we're having, like, people that are going back to, like, oh yeah, women should act and dress and present in this way, which is what the woke people are doing. And the conservative people are slowly allowing trans-identified people into their group if they present in this, like, like Blair White does. Like, he presents in this way where they're, like, he's allowed to go into conservative spaces, so it's circling around. So really, woke and conservative are very intertwined now. Old-timey conservative is, like, religious, and, there's two different types of conservatism now. So many different opinions. Anyways, so this guy, Vincent, he's identifying as femboy and thinking that makes him less man, so he goes on estrogen, right? And he does it for about, I don't know, like 2 years. So about as long as I did. And he gets a little bit of gynecomastia, like it puffs out a little bit, gets a little bit circular, kind of like female breast tissue is, but not really because it's on a man. And basically, he shows his, going off estrogen for a month, and then, it shrinks down again. So There's many people saying, oh yeah, this gives me hope, you look great, I actually think you'll get more of a reduction. I did for 6 months so far, probably won't go away though. And yeah, that's the thing. So a lot of these men, like me, we go back into like gynecomastia subs or something, and like, that's helpful, but like they recommend surgery, so like they don't like abnormalities in the body like that. But gynecomastia isn't that abnormal. Like 60% of men or so have it, like to a mild degree, or like, to some degree. So it's not that abnormal, is it? Trans-identifying pills, synthetic hormone pills, you get like a little bit more puffiness and it gets a little bit bigger, but like most of the time, like trans-identified men only get below a triple A or like a double A. But I've seen some that get like way bigger than that, but it's like pretty rare to find those ones. And even if they do, it's just a man with tits. Like it's not like a woman. So this guy gets off. And, he's happier and he's doing a better job with his life. He's feeling better. That's good. That gives a lot of people hope. Oh yeah, I also like his makeup. He does very cool makeup. He gets those eyebrow slits, which that's like, I don't know, it was like a black thing, and then it became like a gay thing, and now they say it's a Q word thing, which I can't say that on YouTube because that shouldn't be allowed to say, just like the N word shouldn't be, but, because it's insensitive. But anyways, I'm gonna get to the next one. So I think he was on detrans, or actual detrans, but basically his opinion on trans identifiers is that he believes in them. But that's not, that's just his prerogative. He doesn't, like, quite understand it. Anyways, the next one is on detrans, and it's a breast reconstruction, inspiring positivity. So they have a lot of these posts that inspire positivity and, are supposed to make women that lose their breasts feel better, that they can get their breasts back by just doing a simple surgery like fat grafting. However, it's not getting their breasts back. Once you get your breast tissue cut off, it never grows back because, breast cells are a different type of fibrous tissue than like fat is. Fat doesn't replicate what you lost there. Because like breast tissue is like fibrous, it's like made out of lobes and milk ducts, and once you cut those off, like you're not getting those mammary glands back. They don't grow back. She's like saying this is inspiring and stuff, which well, I mean, you could just get like, I don't know, like why would you do that in the first place? It's such, this is another strain on the medical system. Women that get like double mastectomies and then want their breast to just like come back with fat grafting. It's like it's a strain. Like, both surgeries are a strain, unless they medically need them. Like, if they have got cancer, like, back problems from their breasts, like, I could see why, but, like, it's like, you don't need to cut your breasts off to look like a man. Like, that's so weird. I heard some trans-identified woman say that, like, she was basically teasing detrans people and said, oh, yeah, you should have taken testosterone and you shouldn't have cut your breast off. You're crying about it and you're like, you knew that this would make you a man. And like at the time when they're delusional, yeah, they probably thought they were becoming a man, but after they got off the hormones and kind of cleared their mind, they realized that like, oh no, I was never a man and now I look like I can't breastfeed children even if I wanted kids. And now I have this super deep voice, and now, other women might tease me for that or think I'm a man or something weird like that. And it's like, that's what they actually think. Women that are trans-identified teasing other women that were previously trans-identified on synthetic hormones, all they're doing is projecting, because I think that they actually feel pain. I think that they actually know that they're women, and most trans people do know that they're still their sex and their gender, but I think she's really dealing with it when they project like that. This woman says, breast reconstruction, inspiring positivity, 4 days post-op and feeling great. I'm happy with the results. We went slightly smaller than planned, but I think they look great, even swollen and bruised. I'm happy. I'm about a B cup now with 255 ccs. Pain is pretty bad, I won't lie, but not even close to the worst pain I've ever felt. Weirdest part is adjusting to the implants being there, but I'm so happy. Last 3 photos are pre-op. And they show like their bare chest, like with this double mastectomy scars, and then they show it like where they're filling up the what used to be the breast tissue. They're filling up the pockets and they're trying to make it look like it, used to look, but I don't know. I don't really think it like will ever be the same. I'm glad that they can find happiness, even if it's like in another kind of pretend kind of way. I bet it's hard to like lose something that, you used to have and you took for granted and then you lost and then you can't really get it back, but that's probably hard. Oh yeah, so the very last thing I want to talk about is the art. There's some art on our detrans, and it has a series of, mostly women that were on testosterone, and they're doing portraits of these women. And there's this artist called Metaphoric Cis Artist. And basically this person made, 2 women, it looks like, and one of them has like shorter hair, she's got glasses, she's smiling with a background of yellow. Yellow is kind of like, yellow is usually associated with embarrassment. I don't know, she kind of looks maybe a little embarrassed. And then the second woman, has a white background, kind of lighter, kind of more porcelain-like skin, red hair, really pretty smile. And she looks happy. She looks at peace. I think both women kind of have that in their eyes. So what I'm gonna end this video with is that once you get through the detransition process and you get back on your normal hormones and you don't have to take like 5-6 pills a day or worry about getting surgeries next month for some random thing that you choose, you start to feel good about yourself. You start to feel natty, you start to feel good, you start to feel, okay again. Like, during transition, like, it might feel good for a while, for a few years, maybe even up to 5, 10, 15. It might feel good for then, 20 even. I've seen some people detransition 22 years after starting hormones. And it's all the same, really, is that, like, happiness doesn't come from pills. Happiness doesn't come from how people perceive you. It comes from just being you, authentically you, regardless if people see that or not, regardless if you can even see that. Like, it just comes from within, and that's the beauty of detransition. And I think a lot of people can maybe share that too, that same sentiment, if they've learned some lessons that are probably similar to a lot of the detrans people. And, I think both Reddits kind of share a lot of lessons, and they share that some people are mean, some people are nice. It's not exactly the best place to be. There's a lot of parts where, they judge you and are relentless about it. And there's some parts that are love bombing. And both of those things can be bad or good. Because sometimes constructive criticism, constructive judging someone is a good thing. Because it helps a person improve themselves. And sometimes love bombing someone just leads them to doing bad habits more. So like if someone is like smoking or something and people are like, oh, that's very sexy, you're smoking, that could just lead them to smoking more. Oh, you could see how both those things could be bad and both those things can be good. That's what makes the world a better or worse place, depending on if it's good or bad advice. Well, anyways, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.